Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new project, and I have an exciting announcement to show you. Welcome to you ready? The laser department. Hey, it is. Woohoo! Right, let me tell you. Right, laser department. How exciting. So, little story. And it is important to tell this story. I'll get to the glider, I won't be long over this. Just as COVID started, I was looking for a project because they made me close my clinic, and I started building a pug from a bloke called Andy Whitehead from Angel Wing Designs. And I'll be honest, I'd been looking at it. I'm a big lover of DLG, used to compete in competitions all over the world, and I thought, oh, poor bugger, fancy starting that business, and then COVID comes along. So I bought one. And just out of pure interest, I thought I'd video the build as I was going along. The rest is history. God knows how many pugs Andy sold, not just down to me, but it's a wonderful little glider anyway, but it kicked him off. And ever since then, I've always said to Andy, I don't want any money. So any of the gliders that you see me build from Ukraine, Australia, from Holland, a couple of others in the UK, I never ask for money. All I ask is that people just share it. That's all I'm interested in, is trying to help the sport at its grass level. So, skip forward 5 years, Andy rings me, we've now become mates. He rings me and says, do you want a laser? And I'm like, mate, I'm saving for my retirement, and the price of a laser, that looks like a decent cruise to me, and my wife's not going to be happy with that. And Andy said, no. You've helped me so much over the 5 years of promoting him and helping him occasionally with designs. I'll just make the odd comment. I don't really do a lot to it. And he said, no, I'm getting my new laser. I want you to have my old one. So this is what we got. Andy has given me his old laser. He's cleaned it all up, given it a good service for me. Came down for the weekend and showed me how to use the software. Right, I've got to be honest here, full disclosure, I thought you got the wing helper and just sent it to the laser. And obviously not. Because what you do is you get the files from the wing laser, from the wing helper, and then it goes to, I'm taking it to Coral Draw, and then you have to number every rib. I need to check. I think there might be an update on Wing Helper that might be doing that, but at the moment you've just got to number every rib, and then Andy's made himself a template to go on the bolster, so that you then move every rib onto there, you jiggle them about to get them to fit. So this is my first experiment with Wing Helper. This is my first real design with Wing Helper. I make complete honesty, I have a skua, original in the back there. I've got an original wowwings skua, taking it on holidays abroad. I love it. It weighs a ton, and I've always fancied having a little fold down skua like the SOAS. So this journey is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. There's some tears, there's some anger, but Andy Whitehead, thanks mate. Follow me on this journey. It's going to be long-winded. I'm sorry about the intro, but please stick with this. And I think if you like this, so let me know if you'd like these if you'd like. I'm going to do more of these. My head's exploded. If you want more videos like this, do you want a long video or little like 15-minute bits as we go along? Please let me know in the subscription, and I'll follow me on this journey. Right, so calm down, Nick. So we've got 2 panels for the main panel. There's 2 sets of ribs for the main panel, left and right, and then we've got the 2 outer panels. So what I'm going to do first, and actually I'm using the laptop with Wing Helper on, just so I can remember, because I've done about 15 million other designs since I did that, because that design is actually about 3-4 months old when I first got hold of Wing Helper. Right, stop talking, Nick. Right, so tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to cut out the ribs for the main panels, left and right, and then we're going to get these comb spars out of here, and then look at the back of that. Right, let's talk about operating a laser. Remember, I'm a newbie. Do not take this as gospel. I'm just gonna make a set of ribs for both outer panels of this project, and this is more of a demonstration than the actual cuts, but I just wanted to just talk you through it, because it's not quite as easy as you think it is. But let me show you. So on here, this is something called K40 Whisperer, and you can see where we've got the ribs in red because that's what we're cutting, but also in the blue, that's what's called vector engraving. So that's where we're going to be making the rib numbers on them. Now, as you can tell, I have got the lasers running. Now, the checks for this is, first thing is, I've got water underneath here in a bucket. That's showing me that I've got good flow. The most important thing is this is the temperature of the water, and we never let that get above about 25 degrees. We've got the water pump on, the air pump is on, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Obviously that's the laser, that's my laptop. So the laptop is connected to the laser via USB. Let me just flip this up here and show you. Right, now then, yes, this looks a bit skanky, but this is Andy's original template, works very well. Now, the things we have to do before we actually do any actual cutting is, I'm just going to unlock the rail to demonstrate to you. I'm just going to move that across there, because what we want to do is make sure we've got the right height for the... So we've got the right height here. This is a template guide which shows me I've got the laser set at the right height, which I have. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to close the door, and then I'm just going to click initialize the laser. So that puts it back into its right place, and I'm going to put some goggles on. What I want to do. So what I'm going to do is, I am just going to now click vector cut. So we've got to check we got the right power on the laser, which we haven't. Hang on a minute, I can't see a thing with these glasses on. So I'm going to go down to let's just have a little look. I've got a little cheat board here when I did some experimenting with, so 8 to 10. So I think we're going to go 10 on that, just to be on the safe side. Right, so that's the power of the laser. The 25 vector is the speed of the laser. So what we're going to do is goggles on, just to check through everything's on. Now, the reason for the pump, the air pump, this is pumping cool air across the laser. Everything's set up. So let us just make sure. Yeah, right, let's close the door. I'm going to click on vector cut here, there, and we're off. Look at that. Look at that. Not being funny, we could just have a whole video doing that, couldn't we? Right, who's old enough to remember when microwaves... Right, who's old enough to remember when microwaves first came out? I literally spend hours watching what's going on. And the trouble is, there is an emergency button there. But I'm just letting that do the cutting, and then what I'll do is I'll come back to you and then just show you what it's like when we're just doing the numbering as well. Right, let me show you. Just leave it a while because I've got it, if anybody's interested, I've got it vented out of the cabin, so literally it gets vented straight out of the cabin, so you don't get hardly any fumes. But I don't like opening it until I've just let it run for a little while. Never switch the water coolant off before you switch the laser off. So let me just show you the next thing. So look, we've got the basic ribs cut out. They're great. Also, if you remember, these little bits where the laser hasn't worked, yeah, got to even put them in. Now, so the next thing is, we've cut our outer ribs. Now what we want to do is, this is where I'd got on Coral Draw and had gone through every rib right in R1, R2 and all that type of thing. So now we're going to do, let me put my glasses on so I can see what we're doing. Right, now we're going to do something called vector engrave. So we've got to change the parameters slightly so the speed stays the same. So we're going to change that speed to 25, and I just need to check, right. So we're going to turn the power down because obviously we don't want to go all the way through these. So we're now going to turn the power down, or the power of the laser down to if I start talking about the laser, I just wanted to. So I've gone from speaking like "get to the chopper, wing helper." The whole time I want to go. We must change the power of the laser. Right, so I've changed that down to 5. Now let's hit the old, we're now going to click on vector engrave. There we go. And now that's starting. Let me show you this very quickly. Look, I am your father. Right. See? Look at that. Every one of the ribs is now being numbered. And that, folks, is 101 to building the Petrel. So obviously I've got spars to do as well. Same process. There you go. There's the spars I cut out to go with it. So I'm going to get all these pieces together now, and then I'll get back to you and we're going to start putting it all together. Don't take anything I've done as gospel. I'm learning this as I'm going along. And so when we're shutting down the laser, what I like to do is just leave the laser a little. Oh, hang on a minute, let me just show you this. Look, so that's now stopped. Look at that, it's gone all the way through. Beautiful. That's cut all the way through. There's all the numbers. So I'm going to get back to you, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to assemble the main panel to start off with one side, and we'll see how we go. But that's laser cutting 101 with Nick. So when we switch the laser off, I'll just leave this running for a couple of minutes just to get rid of all the fumes, and then what I normally do is I'll switch the air pump off, I'll switch the laser off, and what I normally do is I just leave the water running for a couple of minutes just to make sure that everything's cooled down, and then I'll be back in touch with the rebellion. I'll see you in a minute. Do you think you can get high on boxer fumes? Right, my first small issue as a designer. So I'm putting this together, that's gone very well. I'm looking at rib 4, and this is this intermediate spar that I decided to put in. And there's no notch for it, it's got like the end piece like this. I scratched my head and kept thinking, well, what have I done wrong? And then when you actually look at it, the tab's in the way. So note to self, check out where the tab is in Wing Helper, because in Wing Helper it's very easy just to move these backwards and forwards. So I need to make a note now that this needs to, I think it needs to come back by about 10 mil, so that I can, that then, I'm assuming, we'll have a little notch on it that will fit in there better. I mean, it's not a big deal, it just means I've cut that off square, but just goes to show you the effort that goes into designing these kits. So I've done this one. I am now going to, of course, the other thing is, I know I'm waffling, but the other thing is I've got no plan, have I? So I was like looking at this thinking, well, it's got a slope, what's the slope, what's the angle? And I suddenly realised that is square across, so that's at right 90 degrees to that. So anyway, that we'll get to that a little bit further on, but I just wanted to show you the journey, as we call it. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to build the second half of this, and then I'll get back to you, and then we can talk about what we're going to do about leading edges, trailing edges, and that type of thing. So, small technical problem has arisen, and this is all to do with, you know, learning the software and developing it as I go along. I hadn't really realised that on the leading edge in the Wing Helper you can put, obviously there's a little scallop for where the leading edge fits. So you'll notice on mine it's barely negligible. So note to self, I need to look at that dimension. I think I've got it about 0.5 mil. I need to go back a mil to take in that scallop. Now my fit work round has been quite easy. I've just got this small tungsten carbide burr there, and I'm just literally putting an angle in. It's a little bit Heath Robinson, not something you'd expect for a kit, but this is prototyping. So that's what I'm going to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to whack on the leading edges. I'm using some Gash 3mm carbon that I've got laying about, because this is more of a proof of concept. We can start looking at lightening it and making it easier to build at a later stage, but at the moment, so I'm going to get it all squared up, get the leading edges on, and then obviously got no plan at the moment. So, well, a life plan. Yeah, right. So I've just literally done a straight line, and then just done got my set square out, and then done a line across there. I would normally have some weights to hold these all in place, but they are currently supporting the leading edges that are going off. So all I'm doing is, I mean, I could, to be honest, as a prototype, I could genuinely lash this up with Sino real quick, but I think the other advantages of using wood glue was if I use the wood glue, it don't go off straight away, so we end up getting a little bit of flexi time with this. And also I can also check these. So I'm just going to carry on running these across here, and I am looking at this thinking to myself, Nick, have you got the right tubing to do the wing joiners? Anyway, That's, look at that, lovely. Oh, I do love this. So, left outer panel has gone cracking. Really, really pleased with that. But obviously the caveat is about these the notches for the leading edge. Also, a couple of little things of interest. I'm not chucking this away. This has got servo trays written all over them, so breaks my heart to chuck this away. Other interesting little thing, I've had one little piece that was slightly difficult to cut out of, and that was this bad boy there. So it just makes you realise, like, you know, the Angel Wing designs and Flight Point, I never have any of those issues with the bolt set, and I know that Andy particularly spends a lot of time, he goes to his supplier and goes through the wood to make sure that everything is suitable for lasering, if that's a word. But yeah, little top tip, I mean, it's come out all right, but yeah, you can just feel with the knife when it was like stopped. So yeah, let's crack on with the right outer panel, and then I'll get back to you. Right, so I have my main panel done, but obviously we've got no trailing edge at the moment, or trailing edge spar. Now, this is something I'm going to have to learn with Wing Helper, because obviously what would be nice, a bit like my previous build, the bra, which had little slots in for to fit a trailing edge spar. So there's one or two ways I can do it. I'm pretty convinced I know which way I'm going to do. So the first way would be to just drop this. Let me show you. I could drop these on here like this, but it does mean that then I'm going to have to jack this up and weight it. Sorry about the flickering, by the way, if you see anything. But that's going to go on there like that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape this as an elevon, and then when I've got it glued in place, I'm then thinking I'm going to cut a spar all the way along. Again, that's something I can learn with Wing Helper. Now, it's either chock it up like so, or the other thing to do is to take all the tabs off and sit it down on the bench, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Is right, update, trailing edges, basically I had a breakdown. I think I might have said I was going to cut the trailing edge, make a spar, and then la-di-da-di-da. Anyway, let me tell you what I did. Let me show you. Right, at the end of the day, it's come out really nice. So I cut the tabs off the bottom, I sat it down, and of course then I realised that this has actually got a small amount of dihedral in it, which meant that obviously it made it interesting with the packing. So I've managed to get it packed up nicely, remembering that some of the ribs is going to be sheeted, and you'll see later why it took a while to get on. Anyway, I'm amazed how well it's stuck, and I've got to be honest here, the outer panels, they went on real lovely. This is just this is 3mm balsa, which I wood glued together. So the next plan of action is I've marked myself. Do you know what, I nearly just really honestly, just talking to you now, I have realised I've nearly made a massive boo-boo. I've marked 5mm on here for the spar. In this version, I'm just doing the outer tips. Seriously, that is literally while I'm talking to camera. Right, forget that. That glued on real nicely. Might put some fillets in here. I'll see how I feel about that, but I think by the time I've got the sheeting on, that'll be fine. This, I'm going to measure 5mm back, cut myself a spar, but what I am going to do first, I'm going to mark the spar, I'm going to mark it back with that masking tape technique, and I'm going to plane these to shape. To be honest with you, I needed to mark the 5mm here. Oh, nice recovery, Nick. To make sure that what I plane here matches what I plane here. Still got it, mate. Anyway, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this one first, mark a 5mm spar, and then I'm gonna have a go at sanding this. And do you know, this video might have to be a two-parter at this rate. Right, there you go. A little bit nerve-wracking, but it's actually gone better than I expected. I'm always a little bit worried about planing stuff that's still attached to a wing. There's my 5mm spar, and so I plane this to shape on here, and there you go. I think that's going to be enough control surface. Now I'm just going to, obviously I'm not going to do it yet, I'm just going to obviously take this edge off of here because we're bottom hinging, because this is a PW, I think it's PW 45. I'll have to have a look, but I'll get back to you on exact that. One done. Right, oh my god, if I had the error I would have lost it. Wing dowels. Right, so I made an error in the cut files, in the numbering actually, and so basically what happened was this one here, the tube went all the way through the 3 ribs. This one here, only it butted up against this rib, and exactly the same on the other side. So I've made a little note, and I've actually gone back on the software. It's just these little things you pick up as you go along, but these were a little bit of a mission, and I'm not being funny. It now works, and I could have filled an hour video of me just swearing at this. Anyway, I have used my powers of skills and deduction, and it just basically just fired a big hole, but they're done. So now I've got all my wing dowels in. I am now going to sheet, that's easy to say when you've not had any drinks, I'm now going to sheet this top and bottom surface. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sheet the top surface, and then when I come to do the bottom surface, what I'm going to do is I just want to add some little strengthening fillets to these here, not because of the work I've done before, but advice from Andy is just where some of the load goes, and I think that's actually not a bad idea. So I'm going to get the top sheeting on first, and oh, actually, just looking at it, talking to you, what I've also got to sort me is these magnets. So I've got to get my magnets sorted for joining the wings together. Oh yeah. Thought about that as well, you know. The fin attachment is honestly, it's worth staying tuned just for the fin attachments. Right, I'm going to sort out my magnets and then do the top sheeting, and perhaps I'll talk you through while I'm doing the sheeting. So I have started to add the leading edge sheet. So this is the main panel. So we're going to have leading edge, and then we've got this panel here is going to be infilled as well, either side. And then I've got to start thinking about adding the gear. Obviously on the inside of here I've got to start thinking about receiver battery. What I'm going to do for battery, and I'm suddenly looking at that going, eek, that looks like a small space. So I'm just going to crack on and finish this top sheeting. It's amazing how literally how the change in strength is amazing. Right, so stop waffling. I'm going to just finish this top sheeting, so here and there, and then I'm going to come back because I'm going to need to start thinking about, obviously first time I built one, I'm going to have to start thinking about radio installation. So I come up with this brilliant idea. Let me show you. So I've done all the top sheeting, and I come up with this brilliant idea that I could stick the fins in between the panels and use the associate magnets to hold, so they have the inner wing, the fin and the outer panel. Oh my god, I was so excited. Messaged Andy, but why edit Angel Wing Design? I said, mate, I've had a proper brainstorm. I said, I was telling him what I was going to do. He said, what, like the SOS? It's like music, mate, really, and it's like playing guitar. You know, there's only 7 chords. You see how good I am at guitar. So anyway, flushed with this information, I ran down to my laptop at home and produced that, thinking, well, so what I did was, calm down Nick, what I did was I obviously just took the outer rib of the main panel, took that to one side and then redid the shape, thinking, yeah, brilliant Nick. And that fits on there like that, but I have got the proper shape. So obviously I then needed to remove this, so I've then done another one which has actually got me the right length, and I've managed to do it, so I've removed the build tabs as well, so we've got that. Now, third time lucky. I'm starting off in Depron just to see how it comes out, but I'm just about to fire the laser and I'll let you know how I get on. So, I've got my temperature, I've got my water running, I've got lovely temperature for the water, I've got it loaded on here. So what I am going to do is I am cheekily going to unlock this rail. This is a little bit of an experiment, I'll tell you about the laser. So I'm just moving the laser to there. I'm going to stick that down there. I've got 25 on there, I've got 8 on there. We've got the air, the water, everything's running, good temperature. So let's just push vector cut. Right, sorry, phone went. So, there's the one I've cut. This slides onto the tips like so. And then that goes, now this is not going to be the finished shape. This is really much as, oh, I like that. I like that. It might need to be bigger, but the beauty of the laser is I can cut various different sizes. I can even just cut them in Depron really quickly, just to experiment with sizes. But I'm going to go for that. Right, I'm going to calm down, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm umming around about whether to do these in Depron and then just cover them in tape with a couple of different shapes, but I think I might have a go at just doing 2 balsa ones at that shape and then possibly come out with a new shape. I'm sorry I'm waffling, but I do think people are interested in this. And the other thing you've got to start looking at is obviously fitting it on a sheet of balsa. So I've got plenty of headroom there to be able to do that. So I'll just go and have a lie down and I'll get back to you.